Hello, I'm Ivan,
Hi, I'm Wavid.
and
Uh, Go ahead.
I'm going to share my screen. This is the front end um, thing.
Yeah, so starting off, one of the major, probably the most major thing is being able to actually submit our files to the backend, which on submit, the function has changed drastically. And that is the main function for registering and logging in. So could you go to the actual page it's showing?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So this is what we look like right now. The UI has changed a little bit, and if you scroll down to register, you'll see why we needed to make the box larger because there are a lot of forms to fill. We now have entering and confirming passwords. The passwords now show as dots like they're supposed to, and our sign in button does what's it called? Sign in. It sends sign in requests to the backend,
Yeah, and I
which
can show that right here with inspect.
yeah.
So this is the post request. I don't have Go on my laptop, so it's not actually sending anything, but that is the post request right here. It's sending to the correct place.
Awesome. And then the test is just to see if the sign-in's working, because the test shows as in process whenever we run it, when form submitted, um, because component submitted, at whatever it says on submit, it is still waiting for that post request to go through. So making an integrated testing with both front end and back end at the same time is one of the things for us to do in the future.
Mhm. And register is the same.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything for login and register. So
Yeah,
you can go into the other stuff.
awesome. So I also made some updates to profile setup, which is this page here. We haven't, or at least I haven't done any specific design things yet because we still are deciding on layouts and stuff. But I did add so that the inputs do save as variables. And if you open the command line, it updates the variables here and it's giving us warnings because that's how I set it in. I also added this multi-select dropdown um, component where you can select up to 5 and it warns the command line the things in the array. So even if I cut one out, it's going to update with the one that I cut out. So here it was these three. I'm going to cut out boba, and then it's those two. So that demonstrates that when I send that to the backend, this is the information that's going to be sent. Awesome. And I'll just keep like that. Okay. So that's cool. Same thing with all of these. And these displays are temporary. Um, they're just the inspect element visualized here on the page. And everything else works the same. And this submit button is the back end. It submits all this data to the back end. And that is what we have for that. I also wrote some tests for the profile setup. I'll go through them right now. I wrote should detect files when you insert them. So this is basically when you add one test file, the size of the array, because the images are stored in an array, as seen right here, business images. Um, the array should be greater than 0. And then I check the max should be 8 because that's how I set it, and it works all the same. I'll show the test running in a second. Here it should remove, so it tests the remove function, which is when you press the X on an image. Here is removing and then adding. And here are some tags. So with the tags, it was really difficult to remove it while it was like each time it was being added to show on the test framework because the tests are learning the language was very confusing, but it works. What was really interesting was that I actually had to develop this function remove tag somewhere here on tag deselect. So I had used the delete keyword, but that was deleting it and returning basically like a null object, and that would, instead of like a non-space in that spot, it would do like a null. So if you had 4 items and removed one, it would still be 4 in size, but one of those would be null. So I actually used this splice keyword, which completely deletes it. So then if you remove something of size 4, one of the elements, it's of size 3. So that was pretty cool. And these are the warning statements, etc. And here we can add more tags if we wanted to in the future. We're still deciding on the tags to add. Okay, I'll keep going through the tests. So here I'm adding 5, then removing 1 because the max I set was 5. Here it should add correctly. Here it adds 5, removes 1. And of course, I still want to write more tests for these because testing is important. I'm going to go ahead and run the test framework right now. And gtest is what we use to run the Jasmine tests, which are the ones in the components.
Well, while we're waiting for the test to show up, never mind. Go ahead.
You can keep talking.
Okay, I was just gonna say that we had the console log warnings or console.log commands on the login and register page as well. On the iteration in Git before the final one for the sprint, they were removed after we confirmed with backend that it is sending through and they're receiving objects.
Yeah, and of course, all of that's going to be removed at the end from all of the things. So here you can see all of the Propel setup tests passed, and Wavid can elaborate on these yellow ones right here.
Yeah, so should detect when form submitted is still pending because it's expecting it's sending a post request before, and it's not receiving one back. Like sorry, the post request doesn't have anywhere to go in the test. Sorry, ng test doesn't allow us, like we can't run both at the same time. One of the things for next sprint is figuring out a way to do the test framework while backend is running so that these HTTP post requests can actually have unit tests done.
And yeah, so that is the Jasmine Karma test. And then I added the Cypress stuff, which was very confusing considering you had to mess with the JSON files over here. So the change that I had to add was this one. It was really hard to find, but I actually found it. And it actually allowed the Cypress end-to-end test that I wrote here. I just wrote one of them, filling out the registration component that I'll show you in a minute. It was difficult to implement the Cypress without completely derailing all the Jasmine test files. So this line of code was I lost it. The one I just showed you, it had changed. This one was really important. Okay, so now I'm going to run the Cypress file right now. And if we have our backend people ever needing to run these tests, I have this here so they know what to use and when to use it. Awesome. So npx Cypress, that's not how you spell Cypress, open. So this opens the Cypress framework. And it should show the one thing that I did, which is filling out the register thing. Awesome. So we open it in Chrome, and then it'll automatically, right after I press this, fill out the registration form. And that's super cool. And it fills it out, just like I asked it to. And obviously, our goal for the next sprint is to set up the routing so we have the different pages, but it shouldn't be too scary, but we hope it goes fine. And I think that is everything. Wait, do you have anything else?
Whenever we're talking about bots for the next sprint, that's one of the main things. Routing is changing display and routing, super huge. And then The other one is further integration with backend, like actually responding to stuff backend sends to us, not just sending stuff to backend. So yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you for watching.
Yep. I feel like it's super cool that we made so much progress. And I feel like now that we actually know mostly the general way that we should be working as a group, I feel like it's going to be even better now. So that's everything. Bye bye.
Bye bye.